Hi there, it's Sarah of Get Weaving. I've just put a new pattern in my Etsy shop. It's this one. That's what I'm wearing today. I actually made it 2022, I think, but I've only just got around to making the instructions for it. I was sort of inspired by this pattern here, this bottom one here. I wanted to see if I could do the warp in two different directions. I seem to remember making that pattern in a sort of red and white striped cotton years ago, and apart from anything else, I like a bit of a challenge. I thought, I wonder if I can do this just for a change. And as usual, I wanted to see if I could weave it on my 20-inch Ashford knitter's loom. So I fiddled around with bits of paper and diagrams. I made the pattern up, and then I kind of make a mini version to just check that it's all working. This is the mock-up I made behind me. I used some striped fabric just to see what the effect would be, and it's got sort of 3/4 length sleeves, so I added a bit on the bottom, which is this bit here. I quite liked it with the frill coming round to my wrist. I also make kind of little mini versions when I'm making something, so it has a button and loop on the back, so I kind of practice on bits of calico and just check that what I'm writing works. One of the main things that I realised is that the warp and the weft would need to have the same amount of stretch in them, because obviously with one side the warp is going this way, the weft goes this way, but on this side the warp is this way, the weft is this way. So if they hadn't got the same amount of stretch, one side could have dropped. So this is a close-up. So it has a cotton warp, that's all the different colours, and a hand spun cotton and banana fibre weft, which is the sort of pinky one. So this is the way the pattern pieces are laid out on the fabric. If you can see the line down the middle, this is actually two widths stitched together. But what I do is I overlap them, and you actually can't see the join at all. So this was about two widths of 13 inches for me, something like that. As usual, all the cut edges were sealed with iron-on woven interfacing. I buy one called Stay Flex by the metre from eBay. Comes in white, cream and black, and then cut it into strips. It's like muslin with glue on the back. Somebody asked me the other day if a knit one was suitable, but it isn't. Knit interfacing is only really suitable, in my opinion, for knitted fabrics because they have a similar stretch. So I cut a big pile of strips before I start, seal the edges of each cut piece, and then overlock, or you can zigzag, but I never overlock or zigzag until I've put the interfacing on, because otherwise the fabric can still stretch. And then of course your seams aren't going to work you know, there's quite a lot of sort of give in this, but once the interfacing's on, that's nice and firm. And if you've got any synthetic yarns in your garment, then please use a press cloth and make sure that the interfacing goes on with the glue side down. I've ruined many a perfectly good iron otherwise. I like using these ballpoint needles, or sometimes they're called jersey needles. They're for stretchy fabrics, but they've got a rounded end, which I find works much better with hand woven fabric. A lot of the yarns I use are actually more like knitting yarns, and a standard needle can kind of cut through them, but the ballpoint needle has a rounded end and just sort of seems to ease its way through nicely, so I like that. I always make a mock-up for a new pattern. It saves a lot of time later. You get the fit right, so you shouldn't have to make any alterations to your hand woven version, and it also gives you a chance to practice the construction, because some of my patterns, the instructions aren't quite the way perhaps you might expect them to be, like with a commercial pattern. So it just means that when you stitch your hand woven version, it all goes through really smoothly. T018 is this one, is a multi-size pattern, small to 2XL. On the back you can see fabric requirements. These are the finished fabric requirements, as if you were buying the fabric from a shop. They don't include draw-in or take-up or loom waste or shrinkage, because that can all change so much according to the yarns that you're using and the loom that you're weaving on. At the end I put a calculations sheet so you can see how I work mine out. You're welcome to take a screenshot of that if you like and print it at home. If not, there are some useful sheets in my Etsy shop which you can download onto a laptop or a PC and print them at home yourself. It's things like calculations, how you work out the set, useful bits of equipment, all that sort of thing. But don't try and download them on a phone, because that doesn't seem to work. I'm adding new patterns as often as I can. This is the one I'm working on at the moment. I just finished this yesterday. So it's a summer jacket. It has cotton warp and weft, and then I've used some satin for the collar and the bindings and the pocket linings, and I finished the hem off with a satin ribbon as well. I made a mock-up, but the mock-up is a top, and so there'll be two versions on the pattern. There'll be a jacket with an opening down the front and a collar and pockets. The top you can have without the collar, without the pockets, up to you. And then this one has a satin binding around the edge of the sleeves, but I'm going to put instructions if you'd rather put elastic in the bottom of the sleeves. That's fine, that's up to you. I think that's about it for now. So up to date, happy weaving. I'm just about to make a sample. I've got some amazing yarn I got years ago. It's a really funny one. It's linen and viscose and recycled something. I want to make a long summer jacket. The weather here hasn't been great, so outer layers are still important. Okay, have a great day. See you soon. Bye now.